Tube Review.
What's going on, Tube Nation? Thank you very much for tuning into Tube Review for our very first Tube's Top 10 list. For my first top 10 list, I'm going to go with something a little easy. I'm going to go with Tube's Top 10 Villains. Throughout many movies, there have been plenty of villains that have tickled all of our fancies. You know, you have your Jokers, and you have a lot of really awesome people. But I'm kind of going with my personal favorites, and I'm going to try to kind of, make it to where it's not the same people from every single list. So these are my personal preferences for the best villains in all of my cinematic history of watching. Starting off the list, I'm gonna talk about a movie that you might see a couple times on my list because I love it very much. It's a really awesome movie. I'm gonna go with Mr. Igoe from 1987's Inner Space, played by the great Vernon Wells. You might know him from Commando, Mad Max 2, Weird Science. The movie is about Dennis Quaid, who's an Air Force pilot who ends up getting shrunk down for this experiment and accidentally gets injected into Martin Short's ass. So they have to communicate through the whole movie, but the whole time there is an evil out there coming to steal the technology, and their go-to guy for all of their murders and stuff is Mr. Igoe. The reason why I liked Mr. Igoe in Inner Space is because he never said a word. He was very evil and just dark, and you didn't have to hear him say anything in order for him to make that presence felt. And he also had the snap-on Swiss Army hand with vibrator included. It was awesome, and he was just a really good bad guy, a good counterpoint to Dennis Quaid's point. So it was a good flick. I love Inner Space, and I love Mr. Igoe. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Number 9 is a group of scum that we all have close to our hearts, and that's the Fratellis from the Goonies. Jake, Francis, and Mama, played by Agent Johnson, Peter Davey, Matrix's Cypher, Joey Pants, and good old Ann Ramsey, respectively. The Fratellis were our childhood villains. Those were the kind of, at least for me, they were the first villains that I really saw in movies other than animated Disney movies. They were menacing, they were threatening, but they were still funny, and they were on beat with each other, but they were off beat with each other, which was added to the humor. They made that movie what it was. So I love the Goonies, and I love the Fratellis and everything that those characters stood for. It was a really good movie. Peach. I could eat Peach for hours. Number 8's rolling in with Castor Troy from Face Off, played by Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. Both actors got a chance to play the role in the movie, but Nicolas Cage only got about maybe 10 or 15 minutes to play it until John Travolta took over. And honestly, Nicolas Cage played it better. He played such a good villain, and this is one of those movies that came out in what I like to call Nicolas Cage's pre-Ghost Rider Renaissance era, which is everything before Ghost Rider. There's a couple terrible movies in there and everything, but most of them are really good. In Face Off, he played a really good, evil son of a bitch bad guy who was really cool, really slick, and but maniacal as hell. And it rang really awesome when he got out of the car and got into the plane, his glasses and stuff. It just looked really badass. He really pulled it off, and I wish that they would have switched those roles from the beginning to where John Travolta started off playing the bad guy, and then Nicolas Cage got to take over instead of the other way around. That movie was really well done, though. One of John Woo's best, one of Nicolas Cage's best in his over-the-top manner. There's a lot of really good Nicolas Cage movies, better than Face Off, but Face Off, he plays a really good, evil fuck of a villain named Castor Troy. Check it out. Number 7. You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy? That's my impression of Hans Gruber, the bad guy from Die Hard 1. Played by the awesome Alan Rickman. It was actually his very first on-screen role in America. It might have been his very first on-screen role in general. But it was the role that got him started and gave us everything that we saw after that, Sheriff of Nottingham, Professor Snape, his brilliant role in Galaxy Quest as Dr. Lazarus. Sure, it's a popular choice, and a lot of people have him on a lot of lists of villains and everything, but for me, Die Hard was one of my first rated R movies, one of my first diving in points to the whole action hero genre, and I just loved how suave he was, but how still deliciously evil he was when it came to all of the bloodshed, but still keeping his calm, keeping his cool throughout everything, and just playing a really, really great evil villain, but not really having to do much work in the ways of making himself look scary, because he did the whole thing in a suit, and it was really, really good. He played a really good, awesome villain in that movie, and Hans Gruber forever, man. Love Hans Gruber. Number 6, call it. No Country for Old Men, Anton Chigurh, played by Javier Bardem. Even his haircut was creepy, man. His weapons were the creepiest because we never ever saw anybody use the little cattle prod thing. He was just such a really good, calm presence, always kept his cool and everything. I would really like to see more of Anton Chigurh. I'd like to see an origin story of some sort behind this character, because he was just so evil, and I would love to know how he got the way that he was, how stone cold he was, and how just unforgiving he was. He was such a great character, and I wish that I had more of him. Number 5! And like that, he's gone. Kaiser fucking Soze from The Usual Suspects, played by... Fuck spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie, you fucking suck, and you will suck until the day you watch this fucking movie. So spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1, played by fucking Kevin Spacey. And it was awesome. The whole movie, you're talking to a cripple, Kevin Spacey. He's talking about this badass villain of the underworld, this dark, mysterious figure. Nobody really knows who he is. Nobody really knows where he came from. The stories are all kind of convoluted. And then all of a sudden at the end, oh, it's the fucking cripple. He's Kaiser Soze. He's the one that's been pulling all the strings the whole time, dicking the cops around and everything, man. Here's the guy that when somebody lights a fire to blow this guy up, he's just gonna take a piss on that fucking fire. Number 4. Noonien Singh. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, played by the awesome Ricardo Montalban. One of the greatest villains of all time, with some of the greatest dialogue of all time, with some of the greatest man-titties of all time. This guy's boobs were better than the space sluts he surrounded himself by. He was awesome. He quoted awesome stuff. This is the guy that's, if you're not going to tell him what he wants to know, he's going to put a fucking bug in your ear that's going to make you tell him what he wants to know. This guy has no quarter, no remorse, nothing. This guy will kill anybody he needs to go after his arch nemesis. For fuck's sakes, man, could you imagine being this guy's arch nemesis? This guy had his own people telling him to stop, and he's just like, well, you fuck off somewhere. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna kill this little asshole. He ends up dying himself. But hey, it was still awesome. And Ricardo Montalban, you will be missed. We love you. And my God, Khan is a great, great bad guy. Number 3. What are you looking at, butthead? Biff. Biff from Back to the Future. Bifford Tannen. I don't know if Bifford's his real name, but Biff Tannen, played by the hilarious Thomas F. Wilson, the most quintessential bully, tough guy, riff-raff fuck to ever grace the screen. With such a presence against the other actors, I still cheer every single time he goes, well, say hi to your mom for me. I want him to leave that as a message on my answering machine. That's what I want. I want that so bad. Biff is, was, and always will be the best kind of boy next door asshole bully. I don't think there's ever been a bully in any movie that can top what this guy did with this role. Whether it be young Biff, old Biff, super duper old Biff, future Biff, doesn't matter the Biff, he's always going to be an asshole and he's always going to throw a wrench into whatever plans you got. Love Biff Tannen to death. Number 2. You may have seen me mention him on my Screen Junkies audition. Richter from Total Recall. One of the most underrated and underutilized actors since Charles Bronson, played by Michael fucking Ironside. This guy terrified me growing up. He was such a presence in this film, I always knew that Richter was gonna fuck some shit up. Kate Beckinsale was a mixture of Richter and Arnold's Laurie in that pus-sucking piece of shit fucking 2012 remake of Total Recall with Colin Farrell. Even though I love Kate Beckinsale's ass, and I love watching her ass in action, Ironside brought more to the role. I love this fucking actor. Sadly, he fell to his death after Arnold utilized an elevator to tear his fucking arms off, and he drops hundreds of stories. Pretty shitty way to go out, but pretty awesome way to go out. See you at the party, Richter! And the number one villain on my list goes to a little lesser unknown character out there, but a really awesome actor, Sid 6.7 from Virtuosity. With Russell Crowe in the role, it was awesome. The best villain I've ever seen. Sure, the movie kind of fell flat in a lot of parts, and it might have even been a little bit before its time, but it was a really, really awesome movie when it comes to the villainous character of Sid 6.7. But Russell Crowe, in being cast as a come-to-life computer program made of hundreds of history's most famous psychos, Crowe brought such a menacing presence to the film. He's evil, brilliant, funny, charming, psychotic, and brutal, killing everyone in his path with no quarter so he can get to Parker Barnes, Denzel Washington's character. He just wants to kill this son of a bitch. That is his main goal, kind of like Khan with Kirk, Sid 6.7, Parker Barnes. It was a really good movie. Russell Crowe is a phenomenal actor. And so when you give him a role like this, and he is supposed to put himself in the shoes of hundreds of different psychos in the history of time and mold them all into one, you're getting one badass son of a bitch. And that is why I want Russell Crowe to be a Klingon in one of the new Star Trek movies. I think that would be the greatest fucking role. That would be his masterpiece, is for them to bring Russell Crowe in as a Klingon in the new Star Trek. Oh, that is because of this movie. Sid 6.7 is one of the most underrated, lesser-known villains of all time. You watch this guy, and he just screams evil. But he's suave, he's debonair, he's really, really cool, but he's still a fucking psycho, and he will kill you without fucking hesitation. Sid 6.7 forever. So what'd you think, Tube Nation? Did you like my choices for the top 10 villains, or do you think that I left some out? I probably did leave some out. There's some amazing villains out there. Like I said, I wanted to kind of skew away from the mainstream opinions. Sure, some of mine kind of still had a mainstream opinion to them, but I want to bring you some things that you might not have ever heard of before, that maybe I heard of before, because that's my favorite thing about movies, is the fact that there are so many movies out there, there's no possible way I know about all of them, and when my friends say, you need to check out this movie because of X factor, or this factor, or that factor, I'm in for it. Let's do it, let's have fun with it. So, these are my favorite villains of all time, the funnest villains I've ever seen on screen. Have fun with them. If you haven't seen these movies, check them out. They're really, really awesome. And don't forget to check out Completely Unoriginal, which is the new podcast I'll be starring in from Dakota Broadcasting in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Check it out on their website under dakotabroadcasting.com. But thank you very much for tuning in. Check out my Twitter at TonyTubeZert. Check out my Facebook page, Tube Review, for all my movie reviews and news. And thank you for checking out my YouTube channel, Tube Review. Please like and share. And let me know in the comments below if you have a top 10 list you want to hear me do. Have a good day, everybody.